again. We're in Dorothy Sayers' chapter, Creed or Chaos, in the book by the same title, which has this fairly lengthy essay and some shorter ones. She's dealing in this chapter, Creed or Chaos, with the dogma of Christianity and saying that it's not that we have too much of it, we have too little of it. She's already dealt with God in the previous video, and now she deals with the biblical doctrine of man. A young and intelligent priest remarked to me the other day that he thought one of the greatest sources of strength in Christianity today lay in the profoundly pessimistic view it took of human nature. There's a great deal in what he says. The people who are most discouraged and made despondent by the barbarity and stupidity of human behavior at this time are those who think highly of Homo sapiens as a product of evolution and who still cling to an optimistic belief in the civilizing influence of progress and enlightenment. To them, the appalling outbursts of bestial ferocity in the totalitarian states and the obstinate selfishness and stupid greed of capitalist society are not merely shocking and alarming, keeping in mind she's writing this early in World War II. For them, these things are the utter negation of everything in which they have believed. It is as though the bottom had dropped out of their universe. The whole thing looks like a denial of all reason, and they feel as if they and the world had gone mad together. Now for the Christian, this is not so. He is as deeply shocked and grieved as anybody else, but he is not astonished. He has never thought very highly of human nature left to itself. He has been accustomed to the idea that there is a deep interior dislocation in the very center of human personality, and that you can never, as they say, make people good by act of parliament, just because laws are man-made and therefore partake of the imperfect and self-contradictory nature of man. Humanly speaking, it is not true at all that truly to know the good is to do the good. It is far truer to say with St. Paul that the evil that I would not, that I do, so that the mere increase of knowledge is of very little help in the struggle to outlaw evil. The delusion of the mechanical perfectibility of mankind through a combined process of scientific knowledge and unconscious evolution has been responsible for a great deal of a heartbreak. It is, at bottom, far more pessimistic than Christian pessimism, because if science and progress break down, there's nothing to fall back upon. Humanism is self-contained. It provides for man no resources outside himself. The Christian dogma of the double nature in man, which asserts that man is disintegrated and necessarily imperfect in himself and all his works, yet closely related by a real unity of substance with an eternal perfection within and beyond him, makes the present parlous state of human society seem both less hopeless and less irrational. I say the present parlous state, but that is to limit it too much. A man told me the other day, I have a little boy of a year old. When the war broke out, I was very much distressed about him because I found I was taking it for granted that life ought to be better and easier for him than it had been for my generation. Then I realized that I had no right to take this for granted at all, that the fight between good and evil must be the same for him as it had always been, and then I ceased to feel so much distressed. And then Sayers comments on that, as Lord David Cecil has said, the jargon of the philosophy of progress taught us to think that the savage and primitive state of man is behind us. We still talk of the present return to barbarism, but barbarism is not behind us, it is beneath us. That's all a quote from Lord David Cecil. And then Sayers says to that, and in the same article he observes, that is Cecil, Christianity has compelled the mind of man not because it is the most cheering view of human existence, but because it is the truest to the facts. Sayers says, I think this is true, and it seems to me quite disastrous that the idea should have got about that Christianity is an otherworldly, unreal, idealistic kind of religion which suggests that if we are good, we shall be happy. Or, if not, it will all be made up to us in the next existence. On the contrary, it is fiercely and even harshly realistic, insisting that the kingdom of heaven can never be attained in this world except by unceasing toil and struggle and vigilance. In fact, we cannot be good and cannot be happy, but that there are certain eternal achievements that make even happiness look like trash. It has been said, I think by Berdjev, that nothing can prevent the human soul from preferring creativeness to happiness. In this lies man's substantial likeness to the divine Christ, who in this world suffers and creates continually, being incarnate in the bonds of matter. I'm going to link to James Orr, 2 videos by James Orr, about James Orr, based on his book on Christian doctrine. And the 2 videos are The Bible Doctrine of Man, and What Does It Mean That Man is Made in the Image of God? Next time, Dorothy Sayers takes up the biblical doctrine of sin.